What, you're not a fan of my vocal exercises that I use to warm up for the show?
Shocking, but no.
I'm trying to be a professional, okay?
You're about to start singing opera?
No. Oh, yeah, you don't want to hear that. Anyway, what is happening, everybody? Oh, now my stomach's making growling sounds. Although we just had some delicious burritos from Roberto's that were pretty yummy. What is happening, everybody? It's Sunday live haul. I'm Katie. This is Vikki. That's all you get. I'm too tired to do more than that.
Okay, I'm just Vikki.
Just Vikki.
Whatever.
Unless she wants to be taken seriously, then she's Victoria. Oh man,
we're a dreary day.
Yeah, for sure. And we're continuing to move slow. My sister's here. She's not going to be on the show because she, we went and did quite a bit of thrifting, but honestly, like, I think she bought like a total of like 2 things for her house, and we really didn't do too much better.
We didn't. We went to a couple of stores. We did a whole half a day of garage sales. Slim pickings this week, guys. Slim pickings. So I apologize. We always have some good scores to show you. You're stuck with a lot of clothes from me this week again. I do have some shoes and a couple of hard goods, but not my usual. I was kind of forced to pick up some, a lot of bread and butter. Sometimes it happens. So this week, the scores are going to be, the whole video is going to be a lot of bread and butter stuff for me.
Well, you were saying like, oh, I don't really have anything to show today. And it's like, but that's the reality sometimes, like, as any of you guys know, especially, since neither one of us operate off of death piles and stuff like that, from week to week, we're kind of at the mercy of what's available in our area. And I feel like for you, lately, it's been pretty dry.
It's been crappy lately.
Maybe we need to
I think I'm
going
to have to go out and do more sourcing during the week a little bit. So now that I have I have found a new helper to come and help me do photos, that should free up some time for me to maybe do a little bit more sourcing. So we'll see. I'm about out of pictures, so I think I'm still going to have to take pictures tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least a few. So I have some to get me through the next couple of days, and then my new photographer starts on Tuesday.
So very exciting. But yeah, I have some cool stuff because we did do the we had the big sale with Yesterday's Fits that we co-hosted with them, and so I did get to pick up some stuff. I was supposed to be going this week to their actual store, the one that their new location, to pick up some stuff, but they're just kind of behind. So I had to shop the sale as well, and I did find some cool stuff. So I do have some pretty neat stuff to share during this haul. But of course, again, it's just clothes, guys, but it's stuff that I get excited about. But my sister's been here since midweek this last week, and so we've been doing a lot more activities than we normally do. We've been going out,
actually leaving the house and doing people-y things.
People-y. But I feel like we're just like exhausted, like it's like we're dragging seriously, and then the weather outside and everything, and so it's kind of like meh. Anyway,
yeah, I'm pretty excited about my new photographer, actually. I'm not going to out her because she may not want to be outed, but she is a friend and a fellow reseller that has agreed to come and take some photos. She's just starting out full time now a few months ago, and she's looking to supplement that income while she ramps up the business. So I'm excited.
Cool. Oh, and so HTK Flippers says, Vikki, loved your solo video this weekend, Miss Katie, but you did well on your own. Vikki feels this way, and I feel the same way. Whenever when we're doing this, it's like, yeah, we're just kind of staring off into space, basically looking at the camera. But especially because we're doing it live, it feels very natural, and also because the 2 of us are both here, it feels very conversational, and it's super easy. Like, it was a little weird, like right at first when we first started doing the show. But it feels very natural, and especially because we have you guys, in the chat, and we're interacting.
We have such an active, interactive audience,
and we have each other. But whenever we, every once in a while, I do a solo video, and Vikki's done a couple now, and it's just weird. Like, you just feel kind of awkward.
I feel super awkward, and I know that I sound awkward. I sound a lot less natural when I'm trying to talk. and we didn't edit it. So if you didn't watch it, it's a pretty short video, which is shocking because we don't do anything short, but it's actually only about 11 minutes long. It's a short video. I was part of the reseller box swap that Courtney over on the Common Tags channel did. She is doing a reseller box swap, for every day of the month of December, and all of her videos are about 10 to 15 minutes long. So she's been putting one up a day, and I was one of the resellers that participated in this with her. And basically, it was a little bit of a challenge for both of us. She doesn't really sell vintage, so she tried, and she knows that I like vintage, so she tried to send me mostly vintage, and she did pretty well for not knowing vintage. And she sells on Poshmark, and a lot of the cute, youngish type of styles that sell better on Poshmark, it's not really my thing. So I didn't quite know how to shop for her. It was a little bit different. So it was a cool challenge, I think, for both of us to try and figure out how to fill a box for each other and with things that we think they would want to sell. So everything she bought for me is the type of stuff that I would probably pick up and sell anyway. There's no home runs. There's nothing like worth $100 or anything like that. Yeah. But that wasn't the point. The point was to spend as little as possible to fill a box for items, $25, $30 a piece or whatnot. And I think I fulfilled that with her. She does go over the things and goes over some numbers. I probably would sell my items for a little bit more than she does, but she, I think, sells, is looking for faster flips. So everybody's business model is a little different. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought you did a good job, and it brought some new people to the channel. Of course, now that if they're watching us together, they might be like, "What is this?
What is this crap?
This isn't what I signed up for, man." So I don't know if anybody in the chat right now is new to the channel specifically because of that video. There was somebody in the comments of the video that was like, "Another great solo appearance," but solo was like all caps, and I was like, okay, dude, I apologize for muddying up the waters and making for not a very good video with the two of us. My apologies. I guess Vicky's gonna have to split off and do her own thing. She's gonna do her solo thing.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No. You dragged me into this shit. I'm not. I'll do solo videos here and there, and I think it's kind of fun, especially because a lot of people like the vintage stuff. So I might do that more often here and there. But I seem to get a lot of feedback when I do the solo vintage stuff because there's, people want to learn vintage clothing, especially women's vintage.
Yeah, for sure. And well, our demographic is definitely leans much more to women. And so a lot of you out there who are doing clothes, I know that like a lot of you don't necessarily sell the kind of stuff that I sell. So you want to see some of that. Allison says, "Enough of this chatter. Where's Binky?"
She probably will be doing a walkthrough at some point.
She might do a walkthrough. I don't know. She's in the bedroom. I think she's just like taking a nap or taking a little
Well, she can't be taking a nap with your loud ass mouth.
What? No, you should see our house was very loud.
3 feet away from where she's laying down.
We were trained by my mom to be able to sleep through anything or ignore anything because she would just like talk.
Shocking. I don't know where'd you get it from?
Seriously, where is Binky? Where's Binky? That was it, guys.
The
walkthrough. Apparently, that's all you get. I did take video of us like going out and doing some thrifting. I haven't put that video together yet. We already had we had your unboxing video up this week, and so and also video footage from the sale at yesterday's fits. So I'll be putting that up sometime in this next week. But anyway.
And then Binky and I went out this morning. So big project.
Forever.
So I decide I'm crafty all of a sudden, which I'm really not. I'm not crafty. I think I made a mistake. So I decided, I saw this one Pinterest thing a couple of weeks ago to make this ornament ladder tree. And that worked out pretty well. I did that on my own. I was pretty impressed. It looks
Although
cute.
You did complain the whole time.
I did. Because I like the way things look and I like ideas, but I hate the actual process of doing them because I'm lazy. So, then I saw something else, another, I don't know, Pinterest or DIY thing on how to make these cute little Scandinavian gnomes out of socks. I bet if you're on Facebook, you've seen these things, right? So I'm like, oh, super cute. So we're gonna hit the thrift, the Michael's, the arts and crafts store this morning, and we'll come back and do them this afternoon. Well, they didn't have everything we needed at Michael's. We go to Hobby Lobby. It's Sunday. It's closed. We go to the Dollar Tree. They didn't have everything. Then we had to go to Joann's Fabrics because that was, so I think it was 5 stores and 2.5 hours.
It was a long time,
for this project that was probably going to take us I thought was going to take us one trip and maybe an hour once we got home, but I think it's going to be an all-day freaking project.
This is going to be like 10 hours of your life, a ridiculous amount of money, and who, God knows what, God knows what the results going to be.
I absolutely could have bought them cheaper than all the crap I just bought to make them.
So real quick, Reptiles Plus says, first time catching y'all live. Thank you for my continuing education. You're welcome. And thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. Anyway, so so this is our Sunday live haul show, which we break up into 3 parts. The first part, we go over our real numbers for the week, which mine are looking real rough, guys. It's real. I think I'm trying to do like a whole anti-Q4 thing apparently this year. Anyway, so we go over our real numbers. And what are you trying to point out?
I wanted to go back up to one question that Naomi had asked. Outed.
Okay, hold on. Yes.
So Naomi, I've always had someone, not always, but I've had someone to take photos for me and help me list for anywhere from 4 to 10 hours a week for the past 3 years. She's one of our mods. She's not in the chat right now, Dana, House of Rocks. She's just graduated from wanting to take photos for someone else because she has her own business and she's doing really well at it now. So like anything else, you want to teach somebody to teach a man to fish, I guess. Is that the expression?
Something like that.
Whatever. But anyway, she knows she's very good and she doesn't need to be taking my pictures anymore, is really what it is. So she's moved on and now she'll list for me a few hours a week. But I still would really, really need somebody to help me with photos to keep up with the volume that I'm used to keeping up with. I need a helper.
For sure. Jen says that she calls her daughter Binky. So that's pretty awesome.
Cute.
My sister's in the chat too. Our grandpa actually named her Binky while she was still in the womb. So that's and she uses that name on Facebook. So now she gets called Binky even more. But anyway, okay, so we do 3 different parts of the show. We go over our real numbers, then we go over our sold highlights for the week, and then we get into our haul. So let's just get right into it. It's going to be painful, at least for me it is. I mean, my eBay is up from last week. Not that that is really saying a whole heck of a lot. Hold on a second. Let me, sorry, I forgot to put these over into the right viewing mode. All right, so we're going to look at mine first. And here we go. So I had 22 eBay outgoing orders this week. Let me make this bigger. I had 14 Etsy. So my eBay actually went up from last week. If you remember last week, it was like 700 something. It was ridiculous. So still not a great week, guys, for me, but better than it was last week as far as eBay goes. But at the same time, Etsy dropped for me this last week. It wasn't as good. And so together, I did not quite hit $2,000 gross. You can see I did a little over 1,200 on eBay and just under 600 on Etsy. I will say this weekend, I have, just like last weekend, I have more orders on Etsy than I do on eBay. Today, I'm at like $22 so far on eBay. I took an offer for something. Etsy, I'm like at 120. And so my shipping, just under $200. My promotion fees between Etsy and eBay, $94.90. You can see my final value fees there and total costs. My cost of goods, about $250. So my total net sales after cost, $1,116.44, which is pretty dismal for me, even just about any time, but especially during this time of year, being this is the first week of December. My gross average sale price, $51.50. I try to keep it above 50, so that's okay, but it has been a lot higher recently, so that's definitely a drop for me. And then my net average sale price is $31.01. You ready to look at yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
So the numbers look okay. This is a decent week for me that is not a Q4 week. So here's what my, I don't want to sound like I'm whining and complaining every week, but the reality is there has been no Q4 uptick for me this year. This is the first year ever.
Everything's relative for different sellers.
And in fact, this is actually down for me from last year. I'm down about 20% from this time last year. Still am since October. I have not recovered from October. I don't anticipate it getting that much better because this really should be full swing.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my numbers. I did 42 eBay orders, 12 between Etsy and Mercari. I had 9 on Etsy, 3 on Mercari, for a total of 54 orders, which is about average. Certainly not high. That's about average for any week, never mind December. So $24.30 on eBay, $6.81 on Etsy and Mercari. That was a good week for me. And a little over $3,100 in total gross sales. Now, to be fair, I have about $475 that has not been paid for yet. So I'm pretty darn
that number
sure
could be a lot lower.
It should be about $475 less because it hasn't been paid for. So, and I don't know that it will be. I've been having a lot of offers that are not paying lately. So, shipping $366, promoted listing fees between eBay and Etsy, $59. Final value fees on eBay, $295. Etsy final value fee is $61.36. Total costs of $781.36. My cost of goods, $213, which is about right, a little bit lower. It's lower than usual. Usually I'm about 10% of my sales is my cost of goods. And total net sales after those hard costs, just over $2,100. So my gross average sale price is $57, almost $58, which is good, which is good for me. And the net is not bad either. It would just, I have one really big sale that's probably not going to get paid for. So
yeah. So, it's funny, I was looking at my sales last year and I had a great November last year, and then my December was kind of crap. And I'm like, oh yeah, because I had my accident on December 16th. So I went, like halfway through the month, I went from working regularly to nothing for the rest of the month. I was just getting stuff shipped out and that was it, but I wasn't listing anything new or anything like that. So that's why my numbers are probably gonna, it should be looking a lot worse than it is when I compare. But last year I don't really have anything, it's like, I think I did like 6,000 last December.
Right. So Jerry Pendleton, thanks for popping in because you were just trying to video call me. I'm in the middle of a show, dude.
Why does he have, is that an angry face? What is that?
I think that's him sticking his tongue out because he realized he's just called in the middle of the show. Anyway, so Callie asked, where do you include the helper expense in your spreadsheet? I don't. Katy doesn't use a helper, and I don't include it in my spreadsheet because that's not obviously for taxes. That's just to show you what my costs are.
Yeah.
There are far more costs than that when you talk about reselling in a business in general. My employee expenses are something that I deal with my CPA at the end of the year. And it's not something that I put on there. I also don't put my monthly store subscription fee on there, which is $299 a month. I have an Anchor store. So there are lots of fees,
storage
like
fees or office,
all
the overhead
office, overhead, storage unit, all that kind of stuff. So obviously there are many more expenses. That's just an easy expense that anyone can compare their own numbers to because, final value fees and listing fees and things like that are kind of universal depending on who you are, what you're selling.
Yeah, what we show is a really basic kind of just breaking it down to give people an idea of where we're at. And honestly, to me, the most important part really is your cost of goods, because it's kind of one of those things we talked about this before. You see people, posting pictures of huge piles of packages, or they post their 60-day total on their eBay app, all those things. And it's like none of it really makes any sense or really means anything if you don't have any frame of reference for what their cost of goods actually are. But everything else, it's like there's so many different factors that go into like what our other costs are. So it's definitely not like that.
And frankly, that net number is nobody's business other than my accountants.
Well, yeah, and so that net is really wildly off target as far as like what our actual bottom line profit at the end of the year is. But it gives you an idea of like, so that you can kind of see what it is that we're doing as far as our ROI and stuff like that. So,
and there's lots of questions flowing in there. I'm trying to keep up. It's a little too fast for us to keep up and do the show. So I'll try to pick and choose a few of them. How do you pay your helpers? Hourly, for item, or commission? I don't do commission because whether it's a $20 item or a $400 item, their work is the same. So commission does not make sense. But I do one I pay hourly, and one my friend that is coming to take photos is going to be per item. So it depends on what works for you.
As far as offering discounts when a person buys more than one item, I don't have it set up that way because I'm selling all one-offs. Although, you can do sales and stuff like that on eBay where you do give discounts based on like number of items, but that generally happens where I will have somebody make offers on multiple items and they might put a message in there or they might email me or message me saying that they're planning to buy multiple items. And then, yes, I'm more likely to give a higher discount or accept a lower offer if I know that they're buying a few items as opposed to just one item. It definitely makes a difference.
I'm about the same as Katy. I handle it the same way because I don't have multiple quantity of items. You can't really do a set discount. Some people find a way to do it if they're in just one specific category and someone buys multiples or multiples of a lot of the same things. So yeah, I don't really do that. So I'm glad to see some people are talking that they're having a little bit of an uptick in sales. I'm glad to see that. That's really good.
It's frustrating because we've been hearing a lot of people giving firsthand information about what happened when they started searching for something because they needed to search for something. Like Laura Frenzika, I know, was saying that she was having to do a search for, was it Christmas ornaments or something like that? And I don't remember exactly what she said was happening, but it wasn't coming up the way it was supposed to, which is like super, super frustrating.
I've been having a really hard time too, because I try to do a lot of my shipping, a lot of my purchasing online, I should say. And I buy a lot for, people for gifts for Christmas, as we all are right now, holiday gifts. And I've actually given up a lot and gone to buy on other websites and gone to Amazon and gone to other sites because the search is so messed up that I am having a difficult time as a savvy shopper dialing in to find the item that I'm looking for. It's either coming up with 4 results for something when there should be hundreds, or it's coming up with 4,000 and there's no way to dial it down lower. And then I go through the first couple pages, I get fed up and say, forget, and go to Amazon. So if I'm doing that, I guarantee that's what's happening to a lot of people. So whatever happened with search and how they changed item specifics and what other things that affected has definitely affected the search mechanisms. And I think that's hurt a lot of people in sales. And I don't think it's something that they're fixing because I don't think they know what they did or how to fix it at this point. Anything that was going to be fixed has been fixed. I don't think that there's anything that we can do.
Yeah. Yep, it's kind of a bummer. I guess, speaking of taxes and stuff like that, I guess, not making as much is lowering your tax liability for next year. Let's look at the bright side of things, guys. I see Dana in the chat. What's up, Dana? We're going to be going out and getting some Korean, all you can eat Korean barbecue. So tonight,
not me.
Binky, myself, Dana, we're going to be full of meats and it's going to be delicious. And Vicky's going to be at home missing out.
I'm cool, thanks.
Because she doesn't believe in paying to cook her own food. And I say, whatever, it's deliciously seasoned.
More meats for you.
Yeah, which I would like to point out, guys, if you ever done the Korean barbecue, she doesn't have to pay to cook her own meat because I'm the one doing the cooking. When we go to do the Korean barbecue, I'm the one that's doing all the turn this little hero, she got my short ribs, pork belly, and I cut it up and put it on her plate. And all you have to do is eat it. But no, that's too hard.
Nope.
No, can't do that.
Pretty much. Your sister's saying Katy is a freak.
So rude.
And you get a whole play-by-play of how Katy sings and talks through dinner.
It's true. I do that. Very, very true. Yeah. See, Dana's excited about the meat. All right. So let's go ahead and so like Jen says, Scavenger Life, which they have a ridiculous number of listings, like 8,000.
They do a lot of. I've never actually watched. I follow them on Instagram, and I've never listened to their podcast, so I can't speak to their business model because I just don't know it. But I do know they have more than double what I have in their stores. Like she said, 7,000 to 8,000 listings, and they're very firm on the like list it and forget it thing. Like they don't tweak their stuff. They don't play around with it. They just put it up there and leave it. So,
but when you have a store of that size, it definitely makes it a lot. Like you hear people say like, oh, I've been doing this for a while now and I'm not seeing any regular listings and blah. And then you find a regular sales, and then you find out they have like 42 listings. Like you can't see any patterns. But when you have these, a lot of these bigger sellers, and like I talked to recently, I reached out to Rally Roots and I was asking them what was going on with theirs, just to get some feedback. And they said their sales are definitely down for one-off thrifted stuff on eBay as well. When you have
like
a
their
bigger
newer
stores,
stuff, their other store that they do their pallet sales on is doing fine, but that's a replenishables. A lot of that is replenishables or multiple SKUs, and something about that seems to be working better for people, I'm finding, than people that are selling one-off used items. I don't know if it's the whole pre-owned categories. I don't know if it's just clothing.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't claim to have any answers, but I know some people are doing well this year, but the majority of sellers that I know that sell what I sell or what Katy sells or in the used realm, just following people up based on Instagram and Facebook and friends and groups and things like that. I don't know of very many people that have been doing this for a while that are not doing worse than they were last year, which is unfortunate. And I don't know that it's necessarily the website or if it's the economy in general, but
then it's like I feel like my sales were doing the natural ramp up from summertime into fall. And then everything happened in October, and that's when everything changed. So, if it was like the whole year was kind of like meh, that would be one thing. But like, for instance, you were seeing like record sales for you the entire year. It was nuts. You were hitting over 10,000, 11,000 a month, or if not more, like throughout the year. It was crazy. And so it's not like it's been this decline.
No, and then
like
October, my sales went down to $7,000 and $8,000 a month. So it's
so that's, to me, that's very different than a natural decline in the market, and what people are buying and stuff like that. All right, let's go ahead and
I'm going to answer one last question from Jerry, and then we're going to go. I do my own shipping labels from Mercari. Yes. On some items, anything under £1, I use free shipping and then do my own label. Anything over £1, I use their labels because I charge my customer for shipping, and their labels are cheaper than I can get them usually.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our sales or highlights for the week. I didn't have any crazy sales. You had some cool stuff that you sold, I think, but let's see what we got, starting with you.
So this is one, I did show this on Instagram. It's probably the only one I showed on Instagram. I sold this yesterday. I always say that I'm not going to buy hats anymore because I know even though you can get them for $1 or $2 or even less at garage sales, for me, hats tend to sit. And they just sit there for a long time and then they sell for like 25 bucks. And I'm like, that's boring for me. Right. So every time I say I'm not going to pick up hats anymore, something like this happens.
You should just start saying it every day.
And I sell this.
Yeah.
It sold for what you see there. I paid $2. Sold for $89.95.
Very cool. All right. So the first one I have up here is the Sun Microsystems t-shirt. It was like a volleyball tournament t-shirt from 2000, which as soon as January 1st comes around, 2000 will technically be vintage. I do have vintage in my title, but when it's like close like that within a year or two of being what like Etsy considers vintage, I go ahead and will put the word vintage in my title. But when I do that, I also put the year, so it's very clear. Like, I'm not trying to trick anybody. If you don't consider 2000 to be vintage, you still know it's a 2000 t-shirt, so whatever. Anyway, so this one I did not sell it for $100. I had this up pretty high just because it was such a specific t-shirt that, I kind of put that number out there to see what would happen, but it's been up for a little while now. Somebody offered $50 and I was like, yeah, I'll take $50. I need to bring some money into my store. So I accepted an offer for $50, but I thought it was kind of a cool t-shirt, the bump set spike, just kind of silly. But all of this like vintage tech type stuff usually sells for decent prices. So you always want to pick this stuff up when you come across it. All right, next one for you.
I talked, I guess a week ago or 2 weeks ago about this little haul that I had picked up. I've now sold 3 of these. I paid $80 for 16 Polly Pocket things, and this was one of them. And so I've sold 3 of them so far. So I've already more than made my money back out of the 16. So this one sold for what you see there, $49.95. They actually paid for international shipping. This is going to, I think, Australia.
Awesome.
So they paid like $17 for shipping, but it's actually under 8 ounces, so it'll ship for around 10.
Okay. Next one.
And then the next one, this one sold on Etsy. This one was listed the same day. These 2 both sold within 24 hours of listing. And they're not complete, but I put down what's with them and what's there and everything. This was another good one. So this one sold for.
Let me show you using flippertools.com to see what it sold for. See, that's why I had to warm up my voice.
That one sold for $69.95. So both of those sold, and I think I sold one the first night that I listed it for $30. So now I've sold $150, and I sold them. I paid $80 for all of them.
So you've almost doubled your money already, and you still have multiple pieces left to go. Very cool. All right. So I haven't been selling records very often. I think I have like 40 of them listed, but I haven't really been buying any more records lately, just because I haven't had, wanted to like spend the money on it right now, and I haven't been buying it for myself either. So, that category has been pretty inactive for me, but I sold this one for $75. I believe when this one was released, I got it for, I believe it was $30. So it wasn't a huge sale and not a huge ROI, but if you remember, when I was buying these, what I would do is buy two, one for myself and one to sell to kind of cover the cost for both. So basically this one paid for the one that went into my personal collection, because that's kind of like the goal, is to not actually be having to spend money on something like this for myself. So I was happy about that. It's a pretty cool album with some really cool artwork on it. I love me some Beetlejuice.
That is cool artwork.
All right, next one for you.
Sorry, Dana. So Dana had decided about 3 weeks ago that she was done with hard goods. She doesn't like them anyway. She never picks them up. And she had probably had 10 items in her store that were hard goods. And she's like, I don't want them. Here, I'm dropping them off at your house. You can sell them. You can list them. I've had them listed for a couple months. No action, no nothing. I listed all the things that she gave to me using her photos. So it only took me a few minutes, and I think I've sold all but 2 of the things that she gave me in the last week and a half. So it's kind of funny. But we did, and I did give her something in trade that she's gonna get to unwrap for Christmas, because well,
I would say, considering all the things that she's been able to snag from from your
cool
hauls,
shoes and bags, and
I think it's a good trade-off. Definitely a good trade-off. All right, that's pretty awesome.
So that sold for what you see there, $90 plus shipping.
Very cool. All right, next one for me. This is actually one that I picked up from yesterday's Fits, one of the times that I was purchasing stuff there. It's funny because I actually have another sweatshirt that's similar to this, but it has a bulldog with Spuds on it. It shows Spuds McKenzie run over by a beer truck. And it says, "Hey, Spuds, the party's over." I actually have another one that's blue, and that one hasn't sold yet, but for some reason this one sold really quick, maybe because of the color. It's a really cool, nice red. But it sold for the amount. Well, no, actually they offered like, I don't remember what they offered. They offered like $30, and I think I came back with 45, and they immediately accepted. So I sold it for $45. I was like, sounds good to me. So that was a good, easy.
You're $4 off.
Yeah, basically I gave them $4. Well, that's my first response back. I have when I price these ones that are going to be on sale for $48.99, I hope to sell them for at least $40. And so I usually do, when I do my back and forth, I start with 45 and bring it down a little bit from there.
Interesting.
Yes, I have my methods.
There's a method to your madness.
There's a method to my madness. All right, next one for you.
So this one was only listed for, I don't even know, maybe a week, maybe less than a week. It had been just under a week because it did roll into my 30% off sale. I had priced it fairly high. I showed it probably 2 weeks ago. I think I was wearing it for the video when we started the video. I sold it on a best offer for $120.
Nice.
It went to California, so shipping was around $8. I would have maybe countered differently if it went somewhere else, but I did sell it for $120. It was listed just a couple of days.
Very cool. All right, next one for me is this Terminator 2 3D from Universal Studios Hollywood. This is one that, I have vintage in the title. I didn't say vintage 90s because I know that the Terminator 2 3D exhibit or ride started in the late 90s, and this sweatshirt is made in the USA. But more than likely it's probably early 2000s, but it's going to be somewhere like in that little window of time, maybe 99 to 2003 or something like that. And so this is another one I picked up from yesterday's Fits. It actually had a little bit of staining on it. I was able to get out pretty easily, and I sold this I accepted an offer for $50. It was another instance where somebody made an offer, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take $50 for it. I think the most, I don't think I paid either $5 or $10 for it from yesterday's Fits. So $50 return and I only had it listed for a few days. I was more than happy to do that. because it's not like it's a super rare shirt or anything like that. So it was a good flip.
So Jen said, I love that coat. Thought you should have kept it, Vikki. It was it was too small. I wore it just for the show, but it was actually really too small. It's a medium. I'm not a medium. There's no way these boobs would ever fit in a medium anything. But had it fit me, I might have entertained it. Let's see. And then there was another question in there. Victoria Smith asked, did I put the coat in a box because the shipping was so cheap? I did, actually, because it was going to California. I did a bag and then I put it in a box just for the presentation, because it's a really it's kind of like that cheap suede. So it was like that stiff cheap suede. So it kind of felt funny when I folded it over. So I wasn't trying to smash it into a bag. Okay, so this is, a couple of you guys might have remembered, I picked up 5 Anushka bags one day a few months ago at Savers. I paid on average $19 a piece for them. I only have one left. So they've all sold except for one, and this sold for the price that you see right there. They didn't ask to make an offer. It sold for $139.97, and then shipping was, $7 or so.
All right. Oh, and somebody had a question. Verena Kruger says, do your sales drop after Christmas? Honestly, so who knows about what's going to happen this year? But I would actually say, for me, and I think Vikki has had the same experience, January tends to be as good, if not better, than even December.
Yeah. So for me, January and February are pretty good. They start to drop around February for about 6 weeks or so. Right about the time, end of January, people start getting their credit card bills in. And then they pick up again for tax refund season. For me, I really don't know what to say. This is my 12th year full-time selling, even though it's my 20th year selling in general, almost 20 years selling. This Q4 is nothing like any other year, so I don't know what's going to happen this year. It's kind of up in the air. Last year, my sales, I never had a dip in sales. I didn't have a dip in January, February, March. I didn't have a summer slowdown. I didn't have a slowdown until October 1st. October 1st, when sales go up for most people, my sales went steady.
Well,
and
more mid-October, really.
Yeah.
When all that stuff happened. Okay, so this one, let's see, you're done with that one. Next one for me. So I didn't have this one for all that long. I've only had it maybe for, I don't even think I had it for a month. Maybe 4 weeks. This is one of the last things I got at the last time I went to Buffalo Exchange. And this is a Hanging with Mr. Cooper varsity jacket from the television show, the 90s television show. And it wasn't very expensive. I believe I paid anywhere from $25 to $26, somewhere around there.
25 to 26.
I know, 25 to 26, maybe 27. But it was definitely under.
Liar.
Whatever. It was definitely under 30. I remember thinking, like, man, they're not really charging very much for this. And so I picked it up. And I did not sell it for this price, but somebody made an offer for $125, and I said, you know what, $125 is a really good flip for this jacket, and I wanted to make a sale, so I sold it for $125, and I think that was a fantastic sale. It's just a cool jacket. I love this kind of stuff that comes from like television shows and pop culture and stuff like that. So, all right, next one for you.
This one did not sell for $99.95, but what it did sell for was $80. I listed it and I sold it within 3 days of listing it. I had paid about $5 for it in the blanket aisle. And I held off on listing it because sometimes I do my blankets in batches and then they'll sit there, for 3 or 4 weeks. I may not have a death pile, but I may have a blanket pile every once in a while. And it takes me a while to take photos. So I finally took photos, listed it, and sold it within like 2 days. So, and that was, it's just one of those cotton throw blankets. So they do fit into the largest poly mailer that works for pirate ship. So it did go to the East Coast. It might have even gone to Florida, which tends to be where a lot of my stuff goes, Florida and New York. So I think it cost me around $10 or so because I was able to fold it into a poly mailer. And I just double bagged it. It's really cute.
All right, next one for me, going to some Etsy sales. Again, I didn't really have any crazy sales this week, but this New York Knicks, this was another yesterday's fits find that I got, and I wanted to show this because, first of all, it was listed less than a week. It really didn't take too long to sell it at all. And it's funny with all this stuff that I've sold, and I'm going to I'll give you a little rundown here in a little bit of stuff that I've sold from yesterday's fits. And, you know, I've already sold quite a bit of it and very quickly. And you got to remember, all this stuff was like in their store, in their physical store for a long time. A lot of it was like posted on their Instagram where they have 30,000 followers. Some of it was in their eBay store. So it had already been out there, and then I listed it, and for whatever reason, it's not all of it, but some of it's selling pretty quickly. So this particular sweatshirt, I had it for a few days. It's relatively, you know, it's got some wear and some fading to it. You know, I always try to say, like, you know, if there's wear and fading, because it's not like it's a brand new sweatshirt, and you can see it's kind of faded. And you can kind of see like what the graphic looks like right there. But this sold pretty quickly, and it went for, let's look at the flipper tools and see what it sold for. And I believe it was, yeah, it's $47.99. So this one sold for $47.99, almost 50 bucks. I think they had it in their store for maybe 30. A lot of their stuff was priced at like $30. So
and then you paid what, 10?
I paid 10 for it, I believe. I didn't pay more than 10, that's for sure, but I believe that one was a $10 one. And I sold it for $48 pretty quick. So yeah, did really well. Next one for you.
So this is another one that Dana's gonna be upset with. So this is another one that Dana gave to me from her hard goods haul that she didn't want to sell anymore. She'd had them listed. She said that she had them listed for a year and not even a bite. I had them listed for about a week, maybe a week and a half. And they sold for.
That's so crazy. I wonder if I mean, part of it is that you do promotions. You don't do as high of a budget as I do for your promotions, but some of your stuff is advertised on Etsy. So I don't know if it's like people are just seeing it more quickly, or.
They sold for $80 plus shipping, shipping international.
Oh, where?
So at like Thailand, maybe something like that. No, Philippines. They went to Philippines. Yeah. So they paid like $28 shipping to the Philippines. Yeah, it's a boot, Sunny. It looks like a boot. And there was actually one of them had a repair. And they still sold for, you know, $80 on Etsy plus shipping. And I made a little bit of money on the shipping because they were between that 2 and 3 pound sweet spot on pirate ship.
But again, it's just like what I was saying with yesterday's fits. Like sometimes some stuff, it just, who knows? It's like it just so happened to, you know, maybe it was higher in the search. Maybe just that particular person that wanted to buy something like this just happened to search on Etsy the day after Vikki listed this stuff. It's like you just never know what the rationale is for why something might sell for one person and not for another.
And who pays $80 for a coffee mug set and one of them is broken?
Right.
What the frig?
Yeah.
But hey,
so
that guy.
Jen said, I had just a few minutes to run into a Goodwill last Thursday, so glad I did. Found a 99 rarish anime t-shirt, paid 99 cents, and it comps for around $100 to $125. So she felt that my t-shirt luck was with her. I think that's super awesome. I love hearing stories like that because there's so much cool stuff out there, and somebody's probably gonna be super stoked when they find that listed and they buy it, and you rescued it for them. All right, so this is an interesting one. This is actually from a reseller box that I had bought, and I actually did like a live unboxing for on Instagram, and I was, you know, I will say I was somewhat disappointed with the contents of that particular box that I got. I didn't know what was going to be in it. I wasn't super excited about anything that was in it, and this was one of the pieces. And honestly, I was like, I almost like donated it or like took it into to Buffalo Exchange or something, because I'm just like, first of all, I'm like, who's going to wear this? Like, it's ridiculous, and not in a good way. And so then, but then I looked it up anyway. Like I literally had it in my pile to take it in, and I decided like, oh, I'll look it up really quick. And you know what? These sell regularly for $35, $40, which is nothing to sneeze at for a used t-shirt.
Right.
And so I posted it and I listed it, and maybe like a month ago. So it really hasn't been like all that long. And it sold, it actually is on sale. So it sold for $43.19 for this t-shirt. It's like this vintage doctor's kind of lab coat.
It's a stupid looking t-shirt.
Like it's stupid, like, you know, like here, I mean, come on guys. The reality is, you know me, I like ridiculous stuff. There's I have so many t-shirts myself that Vikki rolls her eyes at and like
every day.
Praise to baby Jesus that I won't decide to wear it in her presence. But this to me is like a stupid shirt. I don't know. Like, who's wearing this? It's like those tuxedo shirts that I thought were funny when I was like 22 years old.
Awful.
But they're just kind of, yeah.
Before anybody suggests, no, she's not wearing a tuxedo t-shirt for a wedding. It's not happening.
Well, of course not, because I'm wearing my ET t-shirt. I thought I made that clear. Apparently you're not listening to me again. Anyway, so, but yeah, this particular shirt, this design, this Leslie Arwin Dr. Lab coat actually sells quite well. And it was like all worn, and see, I have worn and faded, holes in shoulder. And I seriously, look at this, guys. Yeah, holes in the shoulder, $43.19. I don't know. I cannot tell you what the deal is.
Even you don't know.
Even in this case, even I don't know. All right, so next one for you. This is your last one.
I talked about Kermie in a haul video. I had actually paid nothing for him. I bought a Starbucks barista coffee maker for $20, and the lady threw him in, so he was free. Or I guess you could say he was a fraction of that $20 purchase. And then Emily, bite your tongue. And what did Kermie sell for?
So Kermit sold for, let's check them out, and bam,
$69.95.
That is awesome.
And then he shipped for like $4 because he's light. He's the lighter one. His Kermie is not on a beer bottle, but he was on a water bottle, Victoria.
So Allison makes a good point that the artist that makes that doctor's t-shirt makes a really, really cool front and back anatomy graphic t-shirt that's super popular. And those ones I get, they're really, really cool. They have all the it's an anatomy chart, and you can see all the innards and all the little annotations and all this stuff, and it's just really cool. And I totally get it. And those ones sell for a lot more. But it's just this whole like I'm wearing a t-shirt that looks like a lab coat. To me, it just looks stupid. But whatever. But it might just be because of the fact that it's the same artist that it sells. I don't know. But if you go look, especially on TerraPeak, you'll see a lot of solds for it, and I don't get it. All right. So I wanted to show this one because if you guys watched our sourcing video, the first sourcing video, maybe the second one we did together, where we were at yesterday's fits, and Vikki and I went through the laundry bags. And this was one of the items that was in there, and I really liked it a lot because it's an 80s, it's from 1989. It's just a really cool graphic and a style you don't see as much. But if you remember from the video, the collar, you can't really see it in this picture here, but the back of the collar was so yellow. It was really gross. It was all yellow. And so I was like hoping I could get that yellow out. And I used the LA's Totally Awesome, the pre-wash treatment spray that you can get at Dollar Tree. And I like soaked the inside of that collar, and then I used a toothbrush and scrubbed it down, ran it through the wash, and it came out completely clean. Not even a hint of yellow. Yeah. Like it looked really, really good.
And Greg mentioned, DuPage Picker Greg mentioned when you showed this on the haul video last week or the week before, that you need to make sure that it was, Chief Illinois, or however you say that, you need to make sure you designated that because that's a popular image.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's not, they don't put it on their stuff anymore.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I was really happy that yellowing came out, and I listed it, and it was seriously listed for maybe 4 days, and did not roll into my sale that I have on Etsy. So it ended up selling for $70, sold it for $70. Yeah, so I priced, normally with my college sweatshirts and stuff like that, I priced most of them to be at $47.99 on Etsy, but I went ahead and priced this one up, the higher price point that I use, because of the fact that it's a little bit rarer and it's from the 80s, and it sold right away, which is cool because I'm going to go ahead and take us off the share here, but it's cool because I actually have another sweatshirt from this school. It's different. It's just a regular blue one. Another one that I was listed today, and it was the same size, which is a crew neck, but it was the same size. So I was able to just do like a sell similar and copy
a lot of the info.
And it was like same size and all the same keywords. I didn't have to worry about duplicates because it's already sold. And so it took me like 1 minute to list it on both platforms. So I was pretty stoked about that. Pretty stoked. And DuPage Picker says awesome.
You didn't take a breath yet?
Nope.
All right. So I was just going to say Vasquez Vintage. I don't know which one of you that is in the chat or both of you. If you're not following them, that's another really cool account to be following on Instagram. These girls are kicking ass. Abby, one of the girls, is she reads tarot cards. So I think that was really cool too. So I just find their account really interesting. I'm a total stalker. Like if I follow you, I actually do read your shit and see what you're selling and what you're talking about.
She's been reading your shit, guys.
So I actually do. If I follow you, I do pay attention. I'm not just blindly scrolling through. But anyway, their sales have been killing it lately. And I think they pick up a lot of their stuff at the bins, which I think is pretty cool. So she says, I'm not sure which one of you it is, but Kermit puppets always sell for good money. The ones with the posable legs sell for $200 to $600. You're right. I mentioned that one in our haul when I showed the vintage little puppet to begin with. The newer ones, because they've made them recently. There was that resurgence within the last few years of the Muppets thing. Don't sell for much, but the older ones, and I think it's because it's the whole nostalgia thing. I wish I still had my Kermit. I think I might still have him somewhere actually that is posable with arms and legs that I've had since the 70s. He was mine.
Yeah. So Candace said, I bought a yellowed funky Disney jean varsity coat on Mercari for $20, 2XL, sprayed OxyClean stain remover, and it was like new after wash, and sold it for $150. Yeah, I have, Vicki's talks about this sometimes. Like I'm definitely a lot more anal when it comes to cleaning my stuff and getting it prepped. But I'm going for higher price points, and it's like, and so even some of the stuff I've gotten from yesterday's fits, like I've taken like the sweater shaver too, like sweatshirts and stuff to have some pilling, and I like making them all nice and getting them in as good of a condition as possible, so I can I want to be able to justify that higher price point I'm going for, and hopefully people are going to be happy when they get it.
Whereas I don't even try to justify it. I just put it up there and they buy it anyway.
But whatever. When it comes to like the men's clothes, you can admit that I do sell a lot of it. It's the stuff you're not able to sell.
You do.
Yeah. Sunny, yes, I did sell a volcano shirt to her. I know it's. Oh, thanks for letting me know.
Well, I told you she had sent me a message too.
No, I know, yes, because I didn't have that in my sold. But yes, I did sell a really cool volcano shirt to Sunny from, it was a shirt that I got from yesterday's fits. And so, yes, I did. And it was a cool shirt, and I'm glad you like it. Anyway, all right. So do we want to get into our haul? What kind of stuff?
Yeah.
What are you pulling from? What places did you go to?
So I went to yesterday's fits with you. We had our field trip that we had for our group on Tuesday, and we had about 30 people come and do some shopping. So before and after they did some shopping, I did a little bit of half-hearted picking through because I knew that I didn't really need any more clothing because I've been sourcing a lot of clothing lately. I really needed some hard goods, so I didn't want to spend, a ton of money. So I didn't. I only picked up a few items. I still ended up spending $100. But so what I'm going to show you right now is pretty much almost everything that I sourced from yesterday's fits that particular night. And it's clothing, and the most I spent was $10. I spent, actually, will you go grab my 2 t-shirts that are down on the hangers?
What 2 t-shirts?
The band ones.
I'm like, what is this?
I got 2 band t-shirts. Anyway.
The thing I sort of have pants on.
Yeah, they're hanging. Anyway, so I'm going to go over and show you the items. So at the end of our session, there was a huge amount of stuff, they had a huge amount of stuff that was a huge pile. It looked like the bins. It was, $5. And there were a couple people, and basically one of them is Danielle's boyfriend, Dynasty's boyfriend. She's in the chat sometimes. She's not today, but she's in the chat sometimes. And her boyfriend stayed until after 7 and went through every single thing. Like he dug to the bottom. Most of us gave up. we dug through a little bit and then went, oh, forget it, it's too much. But because he dug through so much, he exposed a lot. And after everybody was done, I was able to find some cool stuff. One of the things I picked up for $5 is this vintage Chaps Ralph Lauren, just crew neck sweatshirt. I paid $5 for it. It does have a hole in the back. You can even see that on the screen, how big it is. But for $5, I still think I can get about $60 out of this one. It's a really nice embroidered, spell out in the front. Let's see. Oh, Dynasty's in here. Okay. So her boyfriend, like I'm telling you, he dug through all of it. He was there. He spent a long time. She was ready to strangulate him. I know she was. God love you. She let him go though. I also picked up this really cool Stussy scarf. And it looks brand new. It's like, it actually has like factory folds in it. You know how stuff, when you've used it, it's a little stretched out or whatever. It feels like somebody probably bought this as a gift for someone else and then they got rid of it. But this Stussy scarf, I paid $5 for this. I think I can sell it for like 40. There's not very many. I've just got to get it up and listed. Let's see. I paid $10 each for these. These are just the Lee Sport sweatshirts, which a lot of people tend to ignore because these were sold at Kmart. But I've never sold one for less than $40. And I did pay 10 a piece for them. So I've got a Detroit Red Wings one and then San Francisco 49ers, but they're both really nice. And they're in good shape. Big, heavy. They're both like probably came from the same person. They're both red and gray. And anyway, I really like those. $5 a piece, and I mean $10 a piece into 40 to 50 a piece will be fine.
Very cool. So Gray Dupage Piquet, $5 super chat. He says 3 small sales during the show. Hallmark Grinch,
which I saw in his whole picture that he posted. So you just bought and sold that thing.
He said it sold within an hour of listing just now, and then he said best show on YouTube. I would like to point out once again, I do have my ET stocking that came from Greg, and my ET tree topper on my geek tree right there. I'm pretty much loving it, and I think Sunny pointed out I do have my Star Trek poster up that I got from yesterday's fit. So the wall is coming together, guys, much to Vicki's delight.
I was going to say chagrin, but okay. Candace, the sweatshirt is a large. It's a men's large, and it's that 90s oversized large, but it's a large.
Oh, and I wanted to answer, I think it was Candy had a question real quick, because this does happen frequently.
Does she even go by Candy? You're calling it says Candace. Maybe she doesn't like candy.
Sorry.
That was very rude and assumptive.
It's because she's my friend, okay? But Candace, I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, she says a buyer bought an item today and asked not to ship till Wednesday. What can I do? Here's what I would say to do first. Go and check your buyer or your seller metrics. The place in your seller hub where it tells you late shipments and stuff like that, and you'll be able to see like what percentage you need to be within in order to stay a top rated seller or whatever, to be in good standing. And if you're not even close to having any issues there, do not worry about it. It doesn't matter.
Just ship when they
It's fine. Just ship it. Yes, it's going to count against you in that percentage, but if you're not even close to having an issue there, then don't worry about it. Just do it. Most likely you're fine. But yeah, it happens sometimes, and unfortunately it shows up as a late shipment, whatever. If it was really going to knock you out of being in good standing, then I would call eBay, but I doubt it. So
very few people have 100%. That's the reality. I've never shipped an item late, and yet I'm somewhere at 98% and change. And it's because not everything gets scanned 100%, or it doesn't get scanned when it gets dropped off, or what have you. And that always counts against you. So don't freak out if your metrics are not 100% across the board. It happens. It also shows that I don't have 100% uploaded on time. Guess what? Yes, I do. Why it doesn't show 100%, I have no idea. It's just, don't worry about it. I don't worry about it unless my defects get into a dangerous zone, and they never have.
And by the way, my friend Candy says Candy is fine with an exclamation point. So she's okay if I call her that. So there. But thank you for considering her feelings. Yeah.
Michelle says reseller project. If someone asks you before the sale, you can just change your handling time for that item. Yeah, you can do that too. You can go right in and edit and change your handling time. That's a really good tip. Lots of times they don't ask.
Yeah.
So when they don't ask, don't worry about your metrics. Honestly,
it doesn't occur to them that they have to. I mean, the buyer isn't thinking about that.
Yeah, most places they don't realize that metrics are a thing unless it's another seller, and even then, usually they don't care. In fact, probably less. So unless you're like in that dangerous zone where it's going to knock you out of TRS, don't worry about it. It's real hard to stay 100% on all those things across the board, and even when you do everything you're supposed to do, because not everything is scanned properly, and that's just life. There's another question there, and say. Beth, Reseller Robo asked, do you refund the difference? Hi, Beth. the difference in shipping if there's a discrepancy. I do not. I don't think Katy does either. Well, she does free shipping.
I do free shipping. The only thing I charge shipping on is international, and I'm charging retail rates, and they're paying for what it would cost retail rates. And any savings I keep for myself, that's part of offsetting the additional small amount of additional risk that comes with doing international shipping myself. And that's the way I see it. I wouldn't worry about it unless there is a mistake. Sometimes people have their listing set up in such a way that it does way overcharge somebody, and it's up to you if you want to, you know, make your buyer super happy if they get like a little money back. So.
Yeah, I don't do that. I do charge shipping on some of my heavier items. I usually charge a flat rate, not calculated. So for the most part, depending on where it's going in the country, I'm either right on the money or I lose a little bit. Sometimes I get a little bit, but because I do free shipping everywhere else, here's the thing. When a buyer agrees to a purchase price, they're agreeing to that total purchase price, whether it's, you know, as long as you're not exorbitantly overcharging shipping and there's some huge error on your part, then it's okay. They've already agreed to that price. It's up to you if you feel like you want to give a refund, but I don't. I do a lot of other things. I don't charge, you know, handling fees. I don't charge, put in extra for my supplies. I don't, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a cost of doing business. So if you get a couple of dollars here and there, there's absolutely nothing to feel guilty about. That's part of your overall cost.
Consider it your handling fee. All right.
Okay, so I got a couple more things I wanted to show from yesterday's fits. Again, Katy hates pants, so she would never have picked these up, but I did pick up some pants. There is this brand called Sergio Tacchini, or that I've picked up before. It's an Italian brand. These, let's see, can you see that? Yep. So these are just white with navy blue. They're those kind of, you know, parachute workout out pants with the zipper on the swishy pants. Paid $5. I'll probably sell them for $50. It's a good brand to look for.
Unless you don't do pants like me, and then you're not going to look for it. You're going to walk by it and
go. And then the other pair of pants that I picked up are just these really nice, I think these are dead stock, Adidas Originals that I have to, so here's the tag. That's not the sales tag. That was the tag from yesterday's fits. You see that?
I sort of see it.
It's kind of.
Those are actually vintage, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably like 90s.
All right. I didn't realize they were vintage.
Not
anyway,
like
I think they're dead stock, but they're kind of weird because they have a zipper and, you know, a Velcro or hook and loop for listing purposes, hook and loop closure and elastic. And then they've got the zipper on the bottom on the leg. Yeah. So I paid $5.
You just need to let your calves breathe.
Yeah, when your ankles are hot. So I paid $5. I think I'm going to list these for in the neighborhood of $50. And that's all I'm going to show right now.
Yeah. All right. So the vast majority of pretty much everything I picked up is all from yesterday's fits. You know, as Vikki said, we had a lot of people there. It was awesome. You know, the sale lasted for, I mean, it was supposed to go from 4 to 7, but, you know, we ended up starting a little bit early and went a little bit late. So we probably went like 3.5 hours. I waited there were a couple of things I had put aside, but I waited about 2.5 hours before I really started going in and like finding stuff for myself. And Teresa T Money, she had sent me $300 because she was feeling left out, and she was like, you know, she doesn't really buy this kind of stuff. She's not a thrifter, but she thought it would be fun if she got some stuff and tried to flip it. And so I actually, Vikki, it was funny because Vikki kept saying like, are you going to get stuff for Teresa? Are you going to get stuff for Teresa? She sent you money. Like, she was very concerned that I wasn't getting stuff for Teresa. And so probably about 2.5 hours in.
See, I had your back, T Money.
Probably about 2.5 hours in, I started looking for Teresa. But you know what? This is why this just shows like how good the stuff was that they had there. I waited 2.5 hours and I was able to find plenty of stuff for myself that I was super excited about. And I totally blew through $300 for Teresa. And let me tell you, when I brought it home and I was showing it to Vikki, there were multiple times that Vikki was like, wait, where was that? Wait, I didn't see that. Like, it had been there. We had been through all of that stuff, but there was so much that we were missing stuff. And every single piece that I picked for Teresa is something I would have bought myself if I had the capital to blow on it. And in fact, Teresa's gonna be mad that I haven't shipped it yet. I'm shipping it tomorrow. But I wanted to show you guys, give you a little teaser, because what's going to happen is I'm going to ship all this stuff to her, and we're going to do a live unboxing so that she can show all the stuff that I picked for her. And then she's going to follow up later and, you know, keep track of like what she sells and stuff. But I have these two big IKEA bags that are just packed full of stuff. Pretty much everything was $10 a piece that I got for her, just for like, I think 2 items. A lot of t-shirts, a lot of sweatshirts. We're talking like so much good stuff. Every single piece was something good.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
So Sandy Rags was there as well, and she said they had so much good stuff. She got some good stuff too.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody walked away with not a lot. So
yeah.
Callie asked a quick question. Are mom jeans still hot and saleable? It does depend on what the mom jeans are. If they're Calvin Klein or they're Levi's, you know, those high-waisted, flat front, not mom jeans with pleats in the crotch. Those have never been brought back. That is not an attractive look on anybody now, then, or still. They're not good. But mom jeans, meaning the high-waisted vintage, like Calvin Klein, Levi's, and a couple of different brands where it makes you look like you got a long butt, but they go up to like the right under your boobs, that kind of thing. Those are good, especially in the junior sizes, because those are the kids that are wearing them. Yeah. They wear them and they fray the cuffs, or they roll them up on the bottom, and they want them in that looser in the thigh, more tapered at the ankle. That's the look. That's what a lot of the younger kids are wearing. Yeah. My butt could not wear those still. I wore them the heck out of them in the 80s and 90s. Not something I can wear at my age, but never pleats.
But yeah, I was looking at my numbers, and I definitely spent a lot more yesterday's fits over the last few weeks than I normally would on a weekly basis on sourcing, because they were getting rid of all this stuff. And so I figured out that I spent roughly about $1,700 over the 4 times that I went there to shop. So I spent about $1,700. I have already made $1,000 from all the stuff that I bought from them. And that's only on 16 pieces. So 16 items. I don't know exactly how many pieces I got all together, but I would say at least 100 items in the 4 times that I've bought from them. I had at least 100 items that I got. So like less than a fifth of those have sold already. And I've already made more than half of my money back. I've got like my little list of stuff that I wrote down, and it's like, $48, $70, $30, $44, $48, $48, $48, $48, $200, $48, $45, $78, $40, $50, $40, $100. Like, the stuff is just selling fast, and it's awesome. So let me go through and show a couple of things here. Let's see, like this. Here's something that I picked up 3 hours, like I went and did like a final walkthrough, and was looking at stuff to buy. 3 hours into the sale, guys. This is a USC t-shirt. It says number 1 in 81, roses in 82. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know if they did like the Rose Bowl in 82. I don't know. I've done any research, but this is a legit early 80s. This is an early 80s Screen Stars tag right here, this blue tag. And this is just I love stuff like this. And apparently nobody else saw it and thought, oh, that's cool. So, but I was like, hello. I think it's a really, really cool 80s t-shirt. Paid $10 for this. I can easily sell this for $50. And again, 3 hours into the sale where 30 people had been going through this stuff, and we had gone through it over 4 separate visits. Still found this.
So Bridget says high-waisted flare jeans are hot. Those are super hot right now too. Those are more 90s vintage than mom jeans, because they're not mom jeans because they're flare. So that's the difference between them, but they're totally still hot. And Jen said, my 16-year-old wears those pulled up to her neck practically. True. I have a very, very teeny tiny daughter. She's 27, and she's about 85 pounds soaking wet, and a 00 is big on her. And she does the same thing. She'll wear them like,
it's one of those styles that's like on the very small percentage of women that can pull it off. It looks great. But then the rest of the population, it's a little iffy. So
you do have to have the right body type to pull it off. And I know that there are plenty of people that are body confident, and God love them, that still try to pull it off. I don't think it works as well. And I'm not trying to be a critical jerk. It is. I'm one of those people. I'm a chubby girl, and I know what works and what doesn't work on my body type. But I think that type of look really does look good on like the tall, thin, or even short, thin. There's thin, wafy looking women.
Well, like one of the things,
like no hips.
I'm not big into fashion when it comes to like women's fashion and stuff like that. But one of the things I remember learning over the past few years, if you think about who all the big designers are, You know, over the decades, there are a lot of very prominent gay men that are fashion designers and are designing for women. But they're looking at ideal body types, and they tend to be, you know, thinner, less curvy, less, I guess I would say, feminine, as far as like what you think of like as voluptuous. And so those are the styles that tend to become super popular in fashion. I mean, that's just something that I heard. I don't know like the reality of that, but
it's absolutely
really
true.
long,
we all know that women that are let's say larger or average in size, fashion is not necessarily always made for those of us that are that body type.
But like, but there's certain fashion styles like pinup that looks amazing on women that are like super curvy. And
well, why do you think I like pinup style? It works. It works for my body type. As Bear Kitty says, I am the shape. Round is a shape.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so let's go through another few t-shirts here. This is one I actually saw Flo, who is, what is she on Instagram? She's got a fun Instagram that's very, very funny to follow. Was it Goodbye Tony?
Goodbyes Tony or something like that.
I saw her pick this up and I was like, ooh, what's that? What's going on over there?
Goodbye Tony's Goods.
Yeah. And so I saw her with a bunch of stuff, and this is one of the items I saw. And then when I heard she had left and she only bought one item, I went and I found her cast off pile. And this is one of them. Steve Miller Band 1989 tour t-shirt in fantastic condition. I haven't looked this up, but I figured $10 for a 1989 tour t-shirt for Steve Miller Band is probably a pretty safe bet. Not that it's going to sell for $200. Like I said, I have not looked it up at all, but you know, it should be able to sell for minimum $40, $50, right? What's going on over there? Are you just doing some perusing?
Yeah, I was just looking I got sucked into her page because you were saying go look. I had to go look at it.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think this is a really cool t-shirt. And one thing that you'll notice, anybody that knows me, what do you think I'll like about this t-shirt? Space theme. Yep, I love me some space stuff. So anyway, that's a really cool shirt.
I wanted to just tap into this. So Callie asked, ever use the word Coachella for a keyword? You can't. That would be keyword spamming. Coachella is not a brand. Coachella is a music festival. So you wouldn't be able to use that word in the title. I think you can on, say, like Mark Macari or Poshmark or those platforms because they're not as strict, but you couldn't do it on eBay.
Yeah. The reality is, okay, when you're using keywords, whether you're doing it on Instagram or on Etsy or wherever you're using keywords or hashtags, it's like, yes, there are certain words that you can use to bring somebody to your item. I see it all the time on eBay where somebody will put Supreme and like every other like word that, you know, Supreme, vape, all this stuff. And it's none of those things, but they're trying to bring a certain crowd to come and look at their stuff. And listen, not, you know, on eBay, you run the risk of getting your stuff pulled. But in general, you run the risk of like irritating the people that follow those keywords and hashtags. Like who wants to go look at, you know, they see hashtag Coachella, they go look at your picture on Instagram and it has nothing to do with that. They might not want to follow your account anymore. Or
yeah, you can use festival. Fader Faded says you can use festival. You can use festival, you can use boho. Those are words that you can use that are descriptive words, that are styles. Those are appropriate. Using proper names are not appropriate unless they are specific to that item. And validly specific to that item.
Sandy, people search Supreme when they're looking for an actual Supreme t-shirt. So
Supreme is a brand.
Yeah, it's a brand. It's a very hyped streetwear brand that goes for a lot of money. All right, so here's another one, another t-shirt that like 3 hours in, I went and I found this Boston Celtics 1985-86 World Champions. Just a really, really cool 80s sports tee. And
that's again, a really cool one, by the way. That one, you know, being a New England girl.
Got it for $10, guys. Got it for $10. And again, it was out there.
Them's the Larry Bird days.
It was out there until almost the end of the sale, and I snagged this, and nobody else had picked this up. I paid $10 for it, so that just tells you how much good stuff was there. So very, very cool. I'll show one more T-shirt, and I'll give it back to you.
Well, if your shirts that spell, if the shirts spell out Coachella, then absolutely you can use those words. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so this is, I don't usually pick up Quicksilver, but this particular Quicksilver is vintage 90s. It's single stitch and it's dead stock. So, and it's really cool. It's got the, it says Quicksilver used and abused. So it's not actually a used shirt. It says used and abused. And then you can see on the back, it's made to fade. So it's a unique color of this garment as a result of a special fabric coloring process. It's designed to have a worn and faded look. Anyway, it's just a really cool vintage 90s Quicksilver t-shirt. Again, got this one for $10, and I should easily be able to sell this for 40, 50 bucks. So yeah, if it says that, you guys, the thing about keyword spamming, guys, is it needs to actually be either the brand of the item that you're selling. It needs to actually say it on the thing. So if you have a t-shirt, it says Coachella, then yes, you can use it then. Or if it's like a television thing, just because somebody, let's say like what's the Coogee sweaters. People like to put Cosby sweater or in the title. Unless it was literally the exact same sweater that was worn by Bill Cosby on an episode of The Cosby Show.
Which it isn't, by the way. He did not even wear Coogee brand.
Right. But unless a certain sweater is something that he actually wore, just because it looks like a sweater that he wore, you cannot put that word in it without it being spamming. Now, at Etsy, will I put that in a keyword if I have a Coogee sweater? Sure, I would, because I know I'm not going to get in trouble for it, and I know that people associate those two things. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of have to know where
you got to know the nuances. So Greg asked, Larry Bird era. Yes, Larry Bird. Everybody knows who Larry Bird is. I mean, I'm not even a sportsing person, and Larry Bird played for the Boston Celtics from '79 to like early '90s.
Yeah, but we're old. There's people who are much younger than us that.
Yeah, but Greg's older than me.
They have no idea who Larry Bird is, probably.
But just, you had a Celtic shirt. It had the years. That was the years that Larry Bird was on the Celtics.
Yeah, for sure. All right, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so I've got just a few more clothing items. Mm-hmm. I know, shocking this year, this week anyway, sorry. So one was this pretty cool one. I picked this up for $5, and I think that Katie was a little bit jealous of this find. So this is a super cool Ocean Pacific. It's like a cropped sweatshirt, but it's Ocean Pacific before Ocean Pacific sold out to Walmart. So it's OP, made in the USA, true vintage OP, when it was still a streetwear a surf brand at the time.
And it's awesome.
It's just got this really, really fun pattern. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
I was actually really happy you got this, because as much as I love the Ocean Pacific t-shirts, I wouldn't have really wanted to have to deal with a cropped sweatshirt, but it is super sweet.
So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I paid $5. I think I'll probably list this one. I don't know. It's got a great pattern. I think I'll probably list it for $80, and I don't think it'll sell for less than like 55, 65 bucks. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So these two, I did pay up for these. I paid $20 a piece for these, but Greg might recognize this. As two really cool shirts that are pretty hard to find. Neither one can I find anything on. So this is a shirt, vintage band shirt for the band Phish, P-H-I-S-H. They are kind of like a Grateful Dead band. They have a huge, huge, huge cult following. This is a real vintage, made in the USA, extra large ringer tee. I have not found this specific graphic yet. It's on two sides. This could go for several hundred, or it could go for 50 bucks. Like, I've got to do a little bit more research and figure out what it goes to. This is actually 1995 Phish. It's all licensed.
But that was when they were definitely super, super popular.
Yeah, they were super popular then, and they're actually nice guys. I met them once. They did a fundraiser for my charity. I didn't know who they were. I had never heard of the band before. That's how bad I am. It's not my style. Stop making fun of me. I'd never heard of them. Anyway, so I've got to look this one up a little bit, but I think this one could sell for pretty high. And then the other one that I paid $20 for as well,
because I knew you'd like it.
The other one I paid this is a Phish one as well, but this is a Phish local crew shirt. So there's only going to be so many of these in existence. I don't think I'll sell this one for quite as much, but I think it'll go to a good Phish fan for, this one I think would be like 60, 80 bucks.
Kara Cooper says, would it surprise you to know I was previously part of that Phish cult? Will never part with my concert tees.
Kara, it doesn't surprise me one little bit, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I met the guys, they did a whole bunch of fundraiser stuff for my I had a charity I used to run back east.
Yeah.
And it was actually their band manager, Larry, that's been with them for like 50 years, who I did most of my business with. But Larry, they did a whole bunch of fundraisers where they auctioned off a ton of their stuff, a ton of their merchandise. They have not commercialized their merchandise. They haven't licensed it. So only true fans could actually buy their stuff. It's a lot harder to find, which is what makes it more valuable. They haven't commercialized like the Rolling Stones. You can buy shit at Target that has Rolling Stones on it. You know, they don't have that type of stuff.
There's a lot of it.
So it's not quite as much of it. So they had auctioned off a bunch of like posters and shirts and flyers and things like that for my chat. Somebody paid like thousands of dollars for a poster. It's crazy. Crazy fans.
Crazy, man.
And yes, and that poster, that puzzle that I sold for like 200 and change was also fish. Okay, so I paid $5 for this. We went to our little honey hole, the St. Jude's thrift store this week with Vikki.
It was City.
It was dead. The racks were bare.
I think they must have cleaned it out recently because it looked like
they must have just had like a fill-a-bag sale or something.
Yeah,
because it was so bare. But anyway, I picked up 2 of these. Katy found these for me because they're new with tags and they were only $5. So must have been a show or something from
LA Kings.
Yeah, I know it's LA Kings, but it must have been. But it's a Toyota,
right? But
and LA Kings. And then something at Pickwick Gardens.
I'm guessing that's where they play. It's Toyota Sports Performance Center. So I think it's their. I don't know for sure, but I think it's probably where the stadium where they play their games. Mm-hmm. And this is probably somebody that worked there for jackets for people who worked at the stadium and somebody or the rink or whatever. So somebody wants to look that up for us. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Greg, the back of the blue shirt is a blank. Sorry. Wah, wah.
Yeah. So this is like an employee jacket.
Yeah, so I picked up 2 of these. They're both new with tags. They were $5 a piece. I don't know what I'm going to list them for. 40, $50 maybe.
Sandy, we've said that about that honey hole a couple of times. There was another honey hole that we did never announce, but we're pretty sure it was a front for something illegal because it was literally only there for maybe a month. It never had like a real sign or name or anything. And like all of a sudden one day it was just gone and it was like,
and it was there for like a month. It was weird.
Yeah, it was really cheap and we found really cool stuff there. But yeah, we talked about the St. Jude's before.
So this is just a cute little vintage dress that I think Dana will like that I picked up. This is dead stock, vintage 70s or so.
It's cute.
Maybe late 60s. Merrily Modes. Yeah, this is late 60s. So this is actually girls. It's a size 16, but I think this is a size 16. It's very small. Mm-hmm. It's just got this cute little pattern on it with fruit, vegetables.
Wow.
I don't know, something, fruit, vegetables. And it has the little faux patent leather belt. It's just, it has a couple pockets in the front. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
It was $5.
Jen, we're talking about St. Jude's, which is a charity for St. Jude's. Isn't like children? Is it the Children's Hospital or something? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Not St. Vinny's. That's different. St. Vinny's, they're so overpriced. I don't even think we have them here.
We don't have any. We don't. I never had any in Rhode Island, and they don't have any here. So I've actually never been to a St. Vincent's.
Any brand name stuff. I think they're good for hard goods. Good for hard goods and like glassware and stuff like that, and dishes. But when it comes to clothing, anything that's like even remotely a brand name, the prices were so crazy high. And it was one of those places where you couldn't figure out what their pricing system was because they didn't have tags and it was just annoying. Do you want
to do a few more?
Yeah, or how much more do you have?
I have, let's see, just a couple more.
Okay, I can do a few things and then you go back to you.
Okay.
Just more stuff from yesterday's fits. This really cool 80s Pittsburgh Penguins, and it's actually a nice big size. Just a really cool t-shirt, got for $10. Again, this is easily, I can sell this for 40, $50. I was really excited about this one. This is a 1987 Gotcha brand. I don't know if any of you guys remember this brand, Gotcha. Just kind of another surfer brand. But look at how cool this shirt is. It says, I haven't looked up any comps for Gotcha stuff, but it says tube heads. And it's really cool. It's these guys in their surfer outfits, but then they all have TVs for their heads, and there's surfers on the TVs. Just a really cool. It's an interesting shirt because it's an 80s shirt, but it's got this really wide hem. It's not single stitch, and it's this really fat hem. Same with the sleeve. But I feel like some of these like surfer shirts, it's like those Ocean Pacific t-shirts like that I showed that had like the slits up the sides or like the high-low hem. I feel like there's a lot of really cool stuff that they do with these surfer tees back in the 80s. But love this shirt. Again, easily 40, $50. Paid $10 for this. This was one of the last items I got at the sale at yesterday's fits. After 3 hours of people going through stuff, this was not grabbed by any of the people from our group. And I'm a little disappointed, guys.
Because have I taught you nothing?
Because this is amazing. Maybe you're just leaving it for me. Another one that I found towards the end that I was super excited about. In fact, I did lots of screaming and hallelujahing at the sale. This someone to look up to. This is a Christian vintage 90s t-shirt. So someone to look up to. Of course, it's Jesus on the cross, and then it's got a Bible verse on the back, but it's in the shape of a cross, and it's John 3:14-15. The verses just before the famous John 3:16. Anyway, just a cool vintage Christian tee. And as I say, hey, Christians want to be cool too. They want to have the cool vintage tees, but they want the Christian ones. This stuff sells like wildfire. Again, $10. Easily sell this for $40-50, guys. Just saying.
So Beth, Reseller Robo asks, do you two ever source for one another, or is it finders keepers? It's funny you say that. If we're both out, we will almost always pick things up for each other and like go, hey, I think you'll like this, or hey, I think you'll like that. Even though it's something either one of us could keep for ourselves, some things I think that she would like more than I do. Yeah. And, you know, so we do shop for each other in that way. And then sometimes when she's out, she'll like, oh, I picked up something that I knew that you'd like, and vice versa. So
if it's something that like, even if it's the type of thing that I would sell, so for instance, those fish t-shirts, I could easily have gotten those and sold them. They're vintage music band tees, totally stuff that I sell. However, I knew because she had that experience of finding that cool puzzle and selling it for a couple $100, I knew that she would be more excited than me to get those t-shirts. And so when I saw them, I grabbed them and I gave them both to her, because it was like, there's plenty for me. And of course I'm gonna give it to her. Or if I find really cool, like hard rock stuff, like not just your regular vintage hard rock, but like ones that are like cool locations, or they're like an interesting looking shirt.
I like hard rock stuff. I don't know why.
Yeah. For whatever reason, she likes it. So yeah, anytime, if it's something that I know is going to spark joy in her heart.
I know. It's so dumb, but it's true. But it's true.
Yeah.
Let me see while you're looking. There was a couple other questions. Nate, yes, we are going to do another yesterday's fits thing. I know you missed out. You were sick. I hope you're feeling better. We've talked with them before we left the other night, and Katie will talk with them more this week about doing something like a fill-a-bag sale, or because they want to clear out the rest of the stuff, so it'll be even cheaper.
They were saying maybe Thursday night. We'll see. It's up to them. They're the ones. We're not co-hosting it this time with them. We're going to be able to give the information to our local people, but they're actually opening it up to the public. They're going to be announcing it,
and they have a huge following. Following.
Yeah. So we'll let you know, but I don't know for sure. But I will definitely let you know. All right. So let me show one last t-shirt, and I'll send it back to Vikki, and then I have some more stuff after she shows hers. But I posted this on my A Boutique for Him Instagram. I also showed this in our video that has not been put up yet. But as you guys know, the first time we went and met up with the Yesterday's Fits guys, I bought that amazing all over print ET t-shirt that Vikki actually found, and I bought it. I paid $50 for it, but I had to promise Jesse that I would keep it for myself and I would not sell it. It was just such a cool shirt. And at the time he told me, you know, it was a Universal Studios sample t-shirt from the early 90s. And he was like, I actually bought a bunch of them for a bunch of different movies at the time. And he said he still had a couple left. And so we got there on Tuesday night, and he had this like up on the wall. Like I was like, are you trying to mock me with this? Because you know I'm going to want this shirt. And sure enough, he had it there just for me. He wanted to force me to give him lots of money. So this is and this one I am definitely selling, but I'm going to hold out for a high price. So I might take Babs down and put this on the wall until it sells, because it's just such a
because you're afraid the tag would get ripped off if you put it with your other stuff.
No, because it's so cool. I want to have it on display. But I don't want to keep. She keeps saying like, why don't you keep it? And I'm like, because I'm never going to wear it. Like the ET one is special to me. Like ET, as you guys know, has a special place in my heart.
Not wearing it to the wedding.
Yeah. Turn on your highlight. Anyway, ET has a special place in my heart as a child, all that stuff. And I do love Psycho. I like Alfred Hitchcock movies, but it's not a t-shirt that I feel like I need to have. But this one is from that same sale that he had gone to. It's single stitch. It's a single stitch dead stock t-shirt. And you'll see, and this one actually has the tag. The ET one didn't have a tag on it anymore. So let's see if I can get it in here. It says, see how it says Psycho Moon Wrap. So it's a little bit blurry. Psycho Moon Wrap. And then and it has a date down the bottom, 91. And then when you turn it over, it says production run. It's got some numbers there that don't mean anything to me, but it has the date 3/15/91. And if you look at the t-shirt, first of all, there's some really cool, don't knock over my soda. Sorry, there's some really cool little details like the window there. But if you look closely, you can see it says 1991. So this was a shirt that was designed for Universal Studios. It's an all over print. You can see
I kind of like the Norman Bates in the back. Turn around.
Yeah, and then you turn it around the back in the back of the house. And it's just this really cool
like silhouette.
It's this really cool like wrap around, and it's this very similar style to that ET one. But this shirt, I don't know. I was able to find one other one on the internet that had sold forever ago. I don't know if these were ever actually put into like full-on production where they were available, because there really aren't any out there. And it, like I said, it still has that tag on it. I paid $65 for this. I paid $65 for this. Currently, I don't want to let it go for less than $300, and that might take forever to sell. I don't care. I'm going to put it up on my wall. It's going to go back there. I'm going to take Babs down, so it'll go right next to the Star Trek.
It could be glow in the dark. It could be.
It could be.
You might want to check that. Might glow under a black light.
Maybe.
A couple of things I just wanted to say. Rita, Scully Star Fashions is in the chat. I just saw you pop up and post something. Good to see you. We haven't seen you in here in a bit. Yeah,
very nice to see
Poppy's
you.
getting into finding me good items when he's out at the thrift by himself. That's a good boy.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Who is the Trekkie? That would be Katy. I hate all things like that. Star Trek, Star Wars, Star anything big.
I would like to clarify. I love the Star Trek movies. I like the shows, but I've definitely never even seen every single episode of, I've seen pretty much all the episodes of the original series, probably the vast majority of Next Generation. A lot of the other series I've never even really watched. But the movies, I love the movies. I think the movies are actually better than the show ever was. And so, yeah, that's my thing. But anyway, this shirt, guys, amazing.
Allison, damn Norman, like damn Gina.
Zing. Amazing. And I love it. I love it. I'm not letting it go for less than $300 anytime soon. It's too good. And I get that maybe I'm not going to sell it at that price.
I do like the movie Starman, Kara. I do like that movie.
Starman's awesome.
I just said I liked it.
I know, and I'm saying it's awesome. That's a John Carpenter movie, by the way.
It's a good movie.
All right, why don't you go ahead and show some of your stuff?
Okay, so again, like we said, a lot of bread and butter stuff this week, at least for me. My two exciting things were the fish shirts. So this is something I never buy kids clothes, never. But I will buy vintage kids every once in a while. Vintage girls' dresses sell really well. I don't go search them out. If I happen to find them at a garage sale or something, I'll grab them. But I had to buy this yesterday because it's the cutest freaking little thing I've ever seen. So it's vintage, like late 80s.
Little snowsuit, right?
Yeah, it's a little snowsuit. It's vintage. It's new with tags. It's just really cute. It's like the kind of snowsuit I put on my kid, and they don't make this little cutesy stuff as much anymore.
My parents just put socks on my hands.
Oh Jesus,
it's true.
Anyway, so it's super 80s. It's not like Oshkosh or Rothschild or anything like that. But I only paid $6 for it. I think I'll probably sell it for like 35 or 40. It's just really cute. I couldn't pass it up. Let's see.
So real quick, Empty Nesting says, I used to own video stores and we sold teas like that, kicking myself for not saving one of everything. Oh, it's funny when I hear people say that, but let me tell you guys, that's how people become hoarders. Okay, because you ever watch like the show Hoarders, and they're always like, well, that's worth good money, I'm saving that to sell it, and then they end up with a house full of garbage. Yeah, you probably would have ended up saving everything you ever owned, and it would be true. And yes, there'd be some amazing things that were worth money, and then there'd be a lot of crap that was worth nothing.
Jen asked, did we watch Bates Motel? Yeah, we both watched it at different times, but I watched it when it was on TV. I loved it.
Good show.
Okay, so again, more bread and butter stuff, but this was about $8, just a vintage denim jumper or denim dress. It's long, it's vintage, it's a straight skirt. It's definitely something you'd put the words modest in the title. It's like that overall top, but just the straight straight long skirt with a little slit in the back, but very modest. I probably sell this for about $60. Those are just normal types of things that I pick up when I find them. This is a brand that I will occasionally pick up. I only picked it up yesterday because it was 50% off this price, the green.
And you were desperate.
And I was desperate because I hadn't found crap all weekend. So it's just the brand Venus, a catalog brand, online and catalog brand Venus. It's just very expensive, but not because it's super high quality. It's just super expensive. It's kind of like when you used to buy Victoria's Secret clothes through the catalog. They weren't that well made, but they were super expensive for some reason. Anyway, so I paid about $8 for it, but I thought it was a really cool dress. It's very sequiny. It's in that very hot blush sequin type of color. Stop, Vanna.
Whatever.
So I think I can get a good price for it, even though it's just
flashy.
And
this is pretty amazing. This
one I thought was pretty cool.
Minus the stuff you got at yesterday's fits, this might be the best thing you found this week.
I paid $3 for this. It's a vintage. I didn't check the zipper, hoping it works. Because I found it on the rack on the way out the door. Just a vintage acid wash with this ticky-tacky pink and blue design on it. Very 80s.
Would you call that like Southwestern at all? Because it has that sort of that Southwestern look, but
Not
it's like
really.
a Southwestern meets
not really
vintage 80s.
But it's definitely 80s acid wash. The brand is Pegasus, which is, nothing special. Made in the USA, I think. Anyway, I thought it was cute for the price. So that'll probably be like a $60 item.
Like Nate says Aztec. I don't know.
Maybe a little Aztec accent.
I feel like Aztec inspired, perhaps.
So, and then what else did I pick up? I picked up a couple of things. So this is one thing. I might just use it myself, but these do sell online. I paid $5 for this. It's a home, it's sealed. It's a home check your heart test, liver test, I don't know what it takes.
Okay, Grandma.
I know it's a finger prick thing, and it collects your blood, and you send it into the lab, and it's a sample collection kit. It checks all your vitamin levels and it
checks your male hormone testosterone levels.
Yeah, but also female. So I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, yes, it's dated, and it's it has not expired yet. Expires in 2020. So they sell for like $50. So I paid $5. I just looked it up real quick.
Interesting. Let me see it.
I might use it. I might sell it. I don't know.
Oh, and it says return your sample via the enclosed prepaid delivery envelope.
Right.
So I think it's all they do all this stuff, and you don't even have to pay anymore now that you have it.
I think.
I wonder if the. Oh no, you have to pay $49 for your lab fees. That's bullshit.
Still, $49 for your lab fees is cheaper than paying out of pocket if you don't have lab fees covered out of pocket.
And then they have your DNA.
Oh, for freak's sake! Unless you're committing a crime, who cares?
And then they have your DNA. I'm just saying. Now you can
everybody has your DNA.
Now you can be framed for murder.
Everybody has your DNA.
Nobody has my DNA.
Have you ever had blood work done? Yes, they do.
They don't keep it. They don't type it. It's not in the DNA database.
That's not the DNA database.
But that's what I'm talking about. They're going to put yours in the DNA database.
Anyway,
you're screwed.
I paid $5 for these. I haven't looked these up yet, but they're just vintage headphones, vintage 70s headphones. I haven't looked them up. They're not a huge brand. They're not like the K brand, but K Ross, but the Electrophonic, so just a cheapo brand, but they're made in Japan. So these could sell for $30. They could sell for $100. I honestly don't know. I have not looked them up. So I am going to look them up, and then we'll price them accordingly. Another cool thing I picked up is this vintage airline bag.
This is cool.
I paid $5 for it. It's just a vintage Palm Springs Airlines bag from the 60s. I'll probably sell this for $40 to $50. I paid $5. I think it's really cute. Let's see. Two more things. So these I paid $12 for. They're Fry boots. So I don't think the other person knew that they were Fry. These from Goodwill. Usually they price that stuff really high. So this is really nice. They're in good shape. They're just, if they were my size, I'd probably keep them, but they're not, unfortunately. They are a size, I think they're a size 10. They're big. They're bigger than what I wear, but they're really nice. So for $13, I'll probably sell these for like $75.
Emily, watch it with your questions, okay? You're on thin ice right now.
I don't know what she's saying.
Just saying.
What did she say?
It's nothing we need to worry about, okay? She's questioning my issues around DNA. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd be worried too. I'd be worried. And then I picked up this pair of shoes for $8 at Goodwill. If anybody recognizes this brand, this is AGL. Sometimes you'll hear it referenced as Angel, but it's not. It's Tuo Giosti Lambruni. I don't know. It's this big long Italian name, but they're made in Italy. They're mostly what you're going to find are ballet flats that look kind of like this. But every pair I've ever purchased sells for $75 to $100. And these are they're in really good shape. There's nothing wrong with the heels or anything like that. There's, not worn down. So Jen says sold many AGL. They sell very well. And they're actually quite comfortable. Again, I would probably have kept these if they were my size, but they're not.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my haul for the week. All
right. I've got a few things I got this week, and this is actually from my sister.
I want to quickly interrupt you. Karen saw that bag in Boulder City. That's where we were. We went to St. Jude. So you guys must have gone to St. Jude as well. Usually we do very, very well there. And it's just, ugh. So Karen was here thrifting in Vegas. She comes with her sister-in-law every year. And last year, she actually made it into our meetup, and we got to meet her in person. This year, she missed the meetup by a week.
Aww.
Poor planning, Karen.
So rude. Why would you attack Karen like that? Oh, Karen, I apologize. Anyway, so, we had just talked like this last week about whether or not my sister was a reseller, which she's really not, but she does thrift a lot, and she found this particular item. And because of how awesome it is, she had grand plans of selling this and making lots of money. And then she realized that she didn't want to bother. So she decided just to give it to me. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, we used to go, there was a skate rink in Salem that we used to go to, and it was called Skate Palace. I'm sure most of you as kids, at some point you went skating somewhere, and you probably have your own Skate Palace, but it was called something else. What was yours?
Riverdale Roller World.
That's a long name. Well, ours was Skate Palace. That's where you would go.
There's still USA Roller Rink is still in Rhode Island and still open and operating. Went there as well, but Riverdale Roller World closed.
Yeah, so Skate Palace for me, it's like this huge, like just even hearing that name is a huge, like takes me back to my childhood. And I just think of like drinking ices and eating like, nachos and stuff like that is what I remember.
See, everybody's naming all of the Skate Town USA, Skateland, Disco Wheels.
There you go. So this is what she found. I think she found it at she either found it at Goodwill or where'd you find it, Jessica?
She might be napping.
Huh? The Skate Palace thing. Salvation Army. She found it at Salvation Army. This is a track jacket kind of sweatshirt. It's in great condition. I did wash it. But this is what's amazing about it is that, let's see, we'll look on this sleeve. It says Skate Palace right there. And then 1983 Oregon State Skate World Championships right there. And then on the other sleeve, it says 1983 Northwest Regional Interclub Skate, or was that USAC? I don't know what that means. But it says Skate Palace, Salem, Oregon, roller skating. So this is just this awesome early mid 80s jacket from Skate Palace. And of course, we're super excited about it. I honestly don't know if there's going to be enough interest that I'll be able to sell this for a decent price. But in my mind, in my heart, I feel like it should sell for $150, $200 personally. But that's probably because I have a lot of nostalgia.
I would feel the same way if I found one
attached to it
from Riverdale Roller World. I would probably have to keep it.
Right? But I feel like even if you don't know anything about Skate Palace, even just finding one of these from any roller rink that's from the 80s, that'd be a pretty fun find, right? This happens to be the one that I went to as a kid. So I was definitely there in the 80s. So I think it's super cool.
This is where we see the age difference between Dana and Candace. Candace is like, R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly was what she used to do, couple skate dance. And Dana is Journey, Open Arms. That's like a 20-year age difference at least. Dana, how old do you feel right now? R. Kelly, I was already out of high school. when that came out.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm really excited about this. I haven't listed yet. I think it's the next thing for me to list. But I was really excited that she gave this to me. And we'll hopefully somebody out there will buy it and they'll be super happy with it. Next thing I have, this is actually one of the things I bought at yesterday's Fits. This is one of their $20 items I got. But this is one of the it's not a blazer. It's called a smoking jacket, lounge jacket. It's Pendleton, but it's like you can see how it's got the 2 pockets on the bottom, and then it's got the breast pocket right here, but just on one side. And it's got 3 buttons on it. So this is a vintage, I would say 60s. It's got the wool mark on it, so it's at least 60s. But I would list this as 60s. It's in fantastic condition, no holes. So I paid $20 for this. The last one I had, I sold for about I think I sold for just over $100. So I priced it at $100. You know, I put like Christmas and holiday in the title and everything.
It's a good one
because it's a nice red color. But I should be able to sell this for $100. This is one of those ones that like I feel like people always undersell these because they just assume like a blazer isn't going to sell for as much because it's not a shirt. But these actually do quite well. So I should be able to get $100 for this, especially right now.
And how is it that we still managed to do an hour and 45-minute show and we had fewer items to show? It's because we're always trying to answer the questions in the chat. That's and the fact that you never shut up. But you know.
Yeah, but they're enjoying themselves. We've got a couple hundred people here. Come on. Anyway, okay, so I just have a handful of sweatshirts. I'll go through these really quick. This is an 80s Oakland Athletic sweatshirt. It is from 1987. I got this from yesterday's Fits, paid $10 for it. I actually priced this up. I priced this like $100, I believe, because this is the 80s Oakland Athletics. It's that elephant is like their alternate logo from that time period. So it's just a really cool sweatshirt. The last Oakland Athletics sweatshirt I had was from World Series in the 80s. I sold that one for $140. So I think I can get like $100 for this one. It's just a really cool sweatshirt in great condition. Here's a sweatshirt that I actually did not get at yesterday's Fits. This is from a couple weeks ago when we gone to some thrift store. And I think I actually found this when I was scouting the women's. I was going to the women's long sleeve athletic wear, which is where you find sweatshirts and the t-shirts. And this is one I picked up over there at Savers. And this is Kennedy Eagles. I believe this is a school, Richmond, California, a high school, JFK High School. And it's just a really cool velveteen reverse weave sweatshirt. It's very small. You can't even see the size on the tag because it's all worn. But I put that it was a very, very slim fit, small sweatshirt. But it's worn, but it's such an awesome sweatshirt. I'm just going to do this one last item. I think this is adorable. It says Utah Rapid Transit, and it's a Snoopy Peanuts sweatshirt, and it's like they're whitewater rafting in Utah. Like how adorable is that? See, guys, I got this at yesterday's Fits. Again, all that stuff had been gone through so many times. I grabbed this and I was like, what? That is so cute. But yeah, it's whitewater rafting in Utah. And that's cute. It's Snoopy and Woodstock and the other birds. And it's just, I think it's pretty adorable. It doesn't have a tag, but to me, this style of sweatshirt is very 80s. This particular cut, see how it goes. There's no shoulder seam. It goes straight from the collar to the sleeve. And the design and everything and the construction of it is very 80s to me. The thing about anytime you find anything with peanuts,
always going to say 1977 U.S. Syndicate.
Well, no, this says 1958, 1965. And so please, if you are just learning vintage, this is not a sweatshirt from the 50s and 60s. That is a copyright date for
Peanuts.
And they just do that with the peanut stuff. That's one of the things.
I've seen them as 1977 on a lot of stuff too. Yeah. It might just have to be when it changed.
Yeah. So anyway, awesome sweatshirt. I love it. And then the very, very last thing.
I thought you said that was the last thing.
That was the last thing, but I wanted to show my little pops I found it. We didn't have great luck, but at St. Jude's they had a whole bookshelf that was filled with like the vinyl pops from Funko. I've never collected them. They're not, for the most part, they're not worth very much money.
There are some that are, but the ones they had there were not.
And usually what they'll do is it'll be the alternate. It'll be like they have like the regular ones in the series, and then they'll have ones that are slightly different. Those are the ones that are worth a lot more because there's less of them. And then there's other things that can make them worth more money. But for the most part, you can buy almost any one you want for less than $10 free shipping on eBay. So It's really more just like for myself. So I got a couple of Jaws. These are the first Funko Pops that I've ever owned. So I've got Matt Hooper from Jaws, and that's the Richard Dreyfuss character. And I got Quint from Jaws. I think these are super cute. I got them for $5 a piece.
You're in trouble.
I won't go crazy, but I found them for $5, so of course I'm gonna pick them up. And then the other one I got was from The Shining, Jack Torrance. So here's an example, guys. If you look up these items on eBay, you'll see this one does go for a lot, but it's not this one in particular. It's the frozen version. They do an alternate version, and it's like where he's all gray because you know at the end of the movie he's frozen. So it's the same character, but he's gray, like he's frozen, and that's the one that like actually sells for like $50 to $100.
The only one I have is Nikki 6.
Yeah, and then my favorite one that I found, this is the first one I saw, was Guillermo del Toro. Is one of my favorite directors ever. Which I like to say the Mexican Kevin Smith, because he's super nice and chubby and cute director, and I love him. This particular one you can buy for super cheap, but all it needs is his signature, and bam, it's a $200.
But you have his signature on other stuff.
I do. If I had his signature on this, I would
transpose it.
No, if I had his signature on this, I would never sell it. I love him. I have a book of his that he signed, and he also signed one of his DVDs. But I was super excited about that because he is one of my favorite directors of all time. Anyway, that's all. That's it, guys.
That's it. That's
it, guys. That's all I got. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
You got nothing? All right, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us again. Hopefully next week you need to double down.
I need to shop more this week, so yeah.
You need to pay more attention to Facebook Marketplace and maybe Craigslist.
And somehow I need to also do all of my Christmas shopping this week. So
I don't see the problem.
No pressure.
I don't see the problem.
And list and ship. Don't worry, shipping is not that hard because I'm not selling a whole lot of crap. So you know that part's easy.
I don't see the problem. Anyway, but the people need some more hard goods, okay? They're sick of my t-shirts.
I'm sorry, people.
They can only handle so many amazing.
I can only handle so many t-shirts.
They can only handle so many amazing t-shirts. I get that they're awesome, guys, but I know that it gets a little old. So anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun. We will see you on Wednesday. Yes, we'll see you on Wednesday for our regular Boss Up and List show at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I have a feeling we're probably going to skip our Friday After Dark show for the month of December because we only have a couple more weeks left and there's so much going on like for everyone. People have holiday parties and all that kind of stuff. So we'll probably skip it for December and come back with it in January. Yeah, but I will try to get that yesterday's fits video up this week. And I'm going to be going back there and I'm going to keep telling you guys to pay attention for reseller boxes coming from yesterday's fits in the very, very near future. If you're looking for other ways that you can source and get some stuff shipped to you. Oh, and then one last thing. I should have said this like close to the beginning of the show because now everybody's leaving. Down below, one of the first links that you guys can go to is the one to our Amazon storefront. And there is still a special deal going for an 18-inch LED ring light. So if you have not gotten a ring light yet, this one ends up being like $55. It's not the exact same one.
It was $50, and then they jumped the price from like $90 to $105. So it's like 45% off. Basically, it's under $60 for a ring light, which is an amazing deal. You're really not going to find it much cheaper than that unless there's another crazy deal. So if you've been meaning to get one, please go ahead and get it through our link. Go to our link. You'll see that at the top of our page, it says shop this promotion.
Yes, it has the stand. It has everything you need. It does not have the carrying case. That's it. It does not have the packable carrying case.
You don't need it.
If you're not planning on transporting your ring light in multiple locations, then you probably don't even need it. I can say in the year that I've had our ring lights, I've never taken them apart and put them in a case. Yeah. So the case is actually in our storage unit, not even in the house. So
yeah, but to get a ring light for less than $60 is crazy, crazy cheap. So if you have not picked one up yet, go ahead and go to the link to our Amazon page, which is like the first link down below.
Yeah,
and click on shop.
Not a fan page, Callie. It's down below this video.
Yeah, down below. It's like look in the description of this video. It says you click on show more. It opens up the first link. It'll say it'll go to our Amazon page, and you want to click on shop this promotion. And you can get that ring light, or if there's anything else you want to shop for on Amazon, you can go through the link as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We're going to get out of here. We got other stuff to do. And then
I got to try to do some listing.
And then a little bit, Binky and I are going to meet up with Dana, and we are going to probably eat our weight in meat. and it's going to be amazing. Hey, we gotta make it worth our while, man. So we're gonna like roll ourselves home afterwards and probably lay around and moan and watch TV. That's gonna be the rest of my day. Nope. Maybe I'll list a couple things first because I want to get that Skate Palace jacket up. Anyway, thanks guys. We love you. Bye.